Hello and welcome back to a new video. My name is Kate and this channel is all about books, studying and learning new things. And learning new things also includes doing a little trip every once in a while. So this video is about our little trip to Vienna. So I thought I'd just tell you a little bit about what we did, how I liked it and what I would recommend visiting. So I'm going to play some clips of the trip and put in some photos in the background. So let's just get right in. Don't be surprised if I'm looking down sometimes because I took some notes on what we did in my planner so I don't miss anything. So yeah, let's just start. Okay, so we basically arrived on Tuesday evening and the first thing we did is we walked around a little bit, but it was too late to really see or visit anything, and it was even too late for book shopping, unfortunately. But that's why we went to the cinema and saw Nosferatu on the first evening, which I would not recommend if you do not have strong nerves, because I was frightened quite a bit during the film. There were just a lot of disgusting scenes that I didn't like so much, and the sounds in the cinema were just a little bit too loud. So be prepared if you want to go see that film. But then we went back to our hotel, and on the first full day we went to the Art History Museum in the morning, and I absolutely adored the Art History Museum. The architecture in there is so beautiful. It must be one of the most beautiful buildings in Vienna. And what we wanted specifically to see at the Art History Museum was the Rembrandt and Hochstraten exhibition. So we did that. We booked the tickets in advance and then we could enter the exhibition in the late morning, and it was absolutely packed, let me tell you. The rooms were definitely not big enough to accommodate for the amount of people that was walking around looking at the paintings and talking to each other. So I didn't really enjoy that there was a big crowd of people there, but I really enjoyed the exhibition itself. The paintings that they were showing were absolutely inspiring and fascinating, and I love the colour scheme and just that there were a lot of portraits, because I really like looking at portraits, and the colours were just a little bit darker, and how Rembrandt painted jewellery, it felt like it was really coming out of the paintings. And I also got the exhibition catalogue, which you may have seen in my last video. So overall it was a little bit crowded, but I still enjoy the exhibition. Unfortunately it's over now, so I cannot recommend it to you because you can't go there anymore. But yeah, I really enjoyed it, and the rest of the Art History Museum is also extremely beautiful, so I would recommend the Art History Museum in total. And then afterwards we went to a church after walking around the city a little bit, and the church was called St. Peter, and you can access some of the areas in the church without paying, but not all of them. But the parts we saw were already plenty, so I don't really see the necessity of paying for the other parts, except if you really want to see the crypt, which I was kind of tempted to, but then it was also quite expensive, so we didn't go. Or if you want to have a beautiful view over the city of Vienna, you can go up one of the towers and look over the city. And then afterwards we weren't quite sure what to do anymore because most of the museums were already starting to close. So that's why we decided on doing the National Library of Austria as our evening programme. And this was probably one of the most beautiful libraries I've ever been in. I think the only one that compares to this one is St. Gallen, which is beautiful as well. And I've heard somewhere that the National Library of Austria is one of the inspirations for the Library of the Beauty and the Beast. And I can definitely see that, because they had so many books, and the architecture and art in this library was also pretty amazing. So yeah, I would very much recommend to you visiting that one as well if you haven't already done so. Yeah, and then for the evening we just went to a restaurant and watched a few episodes of our favourite TV show in the hotel room, because we did a lot of walking on that first day because we wanted to get to know the city a little bit more, so we kind of chilled a little bit in the evening. So the second day we were in Vienna was actually my birthday. That's one of the reasons why we did the trip just then. And actually it was a really good time as well, because there weren't that many tourists because it was just off season. I think all of the Christmas and New Year's people were gone, so the city wasn't as crowded, I would say. And I really wanted to start my birthday with a small breakfast at one of the 2 most famous cafes in Vienna. One of them is called Café Central and the second one is called Demel. And apparently Demel was also the one that Sissi, or officially Elizabeth of Austria, went to when she was in Vienna as well. So we ended up going to Café Central first, and I really wanted to eat a croissant there, but unfortunately they did not have any anymore. So we just had a coffee and a very small breakfast there. And it is rather expensive, to be honest, but the architecture is also quite beautiful. So I feel like you're just paying for the experience as well. But since they did not have a croissant, we then went on the hunt to get one at Café de Mel. So we went in and they had this beautiful display of croissants and other pastries in kind of old showcases. I don't really know how to describe them. I'm going to put a photo here. But these look much better than the ones that they had at Café Central. So we got one of these and it was so good. It was probably the best croissant I've ever had in my life, to be honest. I would definitely get one again. Afterwards, we went to the City Museum. This is the one thing I wanted to do on my birthday. And I've been looking forward to it for quite a while actually, because I saw the TV show as well and I'm kind of interested in Sissy's life in general. By the way, the TV show is on Netflix. It's called The Empress, and Sissy's official name was Empress Elizabeth of Austria, and she lived during the 19th century. She did not want to be Empress of Austria. She grew up in Bavaria and was rather fond of nature, and then she was kind of thrown into this royal world that she didn't actually want to be in. And her older sister was actually supposed to marry the emperor, but he fell head over heels in love with her. So that's why they ended up getting married, because you really can't say no to the Emperor of Austria. The museum was really, really interesting. They had an audio guide, which was very well done, I would say. That was kind of talking about Sissi as a myth, as opposed to Sissi how she really was, because there are a lot of myths surrounding her, because she was apparently one of the most beautiful women in Austria at the time, but she was also very unhappy in this royal world that she was thrown into, as I mentioned earlier. So you kind of follow a tragic story of a woman being caged in like a bird. I think the visit takes about 2 hours, and I would definitely recommend going there because it was very interesting and very much worth the money you pay for it. And then afterwards we went to the Justizpalast, which is a palace of justice in English, I believe. And it's actually a functional building in which people work, but you can go there to have a look at the main room because it's very beautiful actually. I'm going to insert some clips. It has lots of picturesque architecture, and there were a lot of people who shot their Instagram photos there as well, which was a bit annoying to be honest, but we also took a few after seeing all of the people taking some as well. So I would very much recommend you to go there if you want to look at some beautiful architecture and art. And then afterwards we walked past the Rathaus, which we didn't actually go into. I don't know if you can, as a tourist at least. And we also walked past the building of the parliament, which was actually huge. And then we went to another location which I found on Instagram. A lot of people recommended going there because it was free as well, and it's called Palais Kinski, and basically it's this building that's being used for something else as well. I couldn't quite find out what the actual purpose of the building was, but if you follow the staircase all the way up, you can then see a beautiful fresco on the ceiling and a really nicely decorated room which you can also take photos in. There were less people taking photos at Palais Kinski than there were at the Palace of Justice, at least at the time that we were there. So if you have to pick one out of the two, I would definitely say go for Palais Kinski, but it's also a lot smaller than the Palace of Justice. And then at the end of the second day, we went to get some food as well and walked a little bit around the city centre, looked at all of the stores that they had, and we actually left already on the third day that we were there, but we only left at around 12. So I did take some time in the morning to go to the bookstore again, which was actually quite close to our hotel. I really enjoyed Vienna. I would definitely go there again. I would recommend going there to all of you as well. So that was it. I really hope you enjoyed this little vlog about Vienna, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!